Hi everybody, I'm Andreea, and in today's video I'm going to talk about concealer, the secret of the universe. There is a reason why I named it like that, because really, concealer can change our whole look. It's not available for everybody. There are those few lucky people in this world who absolutely do not need concealer at all. And then there's the rest of us who are saved literally by the concealer. But then there are so many questions about this mysterious product, which apparently should be extremely easy to use, right? And extremely easy to choose. But in reality, it's not really like that. So this video, it's all about answering you all the questions you have about concealers, like what concealer does, where and how you can apply it, like the placement, application, and accessories, like what you could apply it with, how to choose the right color, how to choose the right texture, how to make it last. And then I'll also answer questions like why is the concealer looking gray and why is the concealer emphasizing the fine lines. And at the end, I'm going to talk about my favorite concealers. Now, because I feel like this is going to be a pretty long video, or maybe you guys don't really need to know every single information in this video and you just want a specific thing, I will just put everything in categories, and then in my description box I'm going to make a list with everything and exactly the time when I start to talk about that particular subject. Before we get into this video, make sure that you've subscribed to my YouTube channel, that you've clicked on that ring bell button. I'm serious, I'm not just saying that. Like, click on that subscribe button and the ring bell button if you want to see videos like this. And if you want to support this channel. And follow me on Instagram. Now don't push it, Andrea, don't push it. So what concealer really does, it changes the whole appearance of your face. It really brightens up our faces, makes us look like we've been sleeping well, we've been drinking well. Where and how you can apply it. A lot of you think that the concealer is made to be applied only under the eyes. We have concealer, we only apply it right there because that is its purpose. And you are right in a way, but don't have a very narrow vision. Think about it. Concealer is like a foundation, but a thicker formula. Also kind of stays a little bit different on the skin. But if it can be used around the eyes, you can use it anywhere else on the face, right? So you can apply concealer under the eyes. The very important place where I always stress about it is apply concealer right here in the inner corner. That's when we're usually super dark, and that tiny little place makes us look tired. Concealer can also be applied as an eyeshadow base. It's a great eyeshadow base if you apply it in a very thin layer. It can be used as a corrector. If you have a pimple, use a little bit of concealer to cover that up, or imperfection or pigmentation. You can also use concealer to clean and make a very beautiful sharp lip, especially when you're using a very bold lipstick. Concealer really helps you clean and make that perfect contour. I use concealer a lot on my clients on the waterline. It stays pretty well on the waterline, and I typically would use a flat brush like this one. Can you guys see? This is a MAC 212 brush, and I use this to make a very sharp, perfect lip also on the waterline, or you could also use it to create that perfect eyebrow if you like that kind of result. Now let's talk a little bit about what you could apply the concealer with. Just like the foundation, you can apply the concealer with your fingers, you can apply it with a brush, and you could apply it with a beauty sponge. Now there is a difference between all these three options. With the finger, I find it the most natural and the easiest and the most hygienic, I would say, if you wash your hands before, which I'm sure you do. If you're looking for a very natural look, you could absolutely use your fingers. The brush will build a little bit more of that product. It will give you more coverage. The same product applied with a brush can give you a bit more coverage than if you apply it with your fingers. Now the makeup sponge, what it does, builds the product on top of that skin, so it will have much more coverage than if you apply it with your fingers or if you apply it with a brush, because it literally packs the product. And now let me show you what are my favorite brushes and makeup sponges to apply the concealer with. They're all dirty, okay? No judgment in here. I did not get to wash all my brushes, plus I did my makeup. Here are my 3 brushes that I really use it all the time. The first one would be the Sephora 57 brush. For me, this is such a great brush. It looks like this. I like it because it's not too dense. I feel like I'm the kind of person that doesn't like brushes for concealer or foundation that are too dense, meaning that they're like they have a lot of bristles, they're super thick. I like it when it's a little bit more airy. I don't even know if that's a word. And I use it all the time. It's just so easy to use it like in the inner corner, then build your concealer. A second brush, this is not as good in my opinion as the Sephora 57, but it's still a very good brush. This is the Morphe M173 brush. It's a little bit more dense. I think this is why I don't necessarily like it as much as the other one, but it's also a great brush. Synthetic hair, you want to use synthetic hair when it comes to cream products. And then my absolutely can't live without brush is the Eat Cosmetics Complexion Perfection brush that has, you know, that doesn't happen very often, to have a perfect, amazing brush for foundation, and then on the other side to have a perfect, amazing brush for concealer that's out of this world. Now, when it comes to sponges, I really love these tiny little ones from Beauty Blender, but I lose them so often, more than I lose my socks. I've always wondered, like, where do they go? They have a life of their own, you know, outside of my house, because I can't really seem to find them. Back to the makeup sponge. These are so cool. Sometimes I use the concealer with my fingers or with a brush, and then I just take the Beauty Blender, the mini one, and I tap it like this all over the area where I've applied concealer, and this is going to just take the excess of that concealer if there is any excess. It also sort of pushes the product into the skin, so it's just amazing. So that is one way that I use this little sponge. But then another way, if you have those really bad dark circles, this is going to be your friend because it really packs the product around the eyes. I definitely recommend you to put the product on the back of your hand. What did I tell you? And then just take the product with a mini beauty blender and just pack it in. It's just so amazing. How to choose the right color. There is no easy way to choose the right color unless you try it. There are so many people that are asking me, like, how can I know what my foundation color is? You gotta try it. There's no easy way. And I know that you guys are busy. We're all super busy and we don't feel like going in a store and try concealers. Ask for a sample. It depends a lot on how dark your dark circles are. But I can tell you that from my experience, if you're trying to use a light concealer to hide those dark circles, it's going to end up looking gray. When I pick my concealer color, I'm looking for something that has a slight, but I mean a slight, peachy pink tone in it, because you need something that's going to neutralize the dark circles. So if you have your dark circles a little bit more on the blue side, then you're definitely going to want to go towards a little bit more peach, a little bit more that salmony color. Now, if your dark circles are really bad, I mean extremely bad, and whatever you use, you just can't really cover them, use this first. Or use any other corrector that has this sort of color, this peachy color. So this is the Clinique. You've seen me talking about it all the time. The Clinique Beyond Perfecting Super Concealer. They have it in a bunch of colors, but this one in particular, it's called Apricot, and it's a corrector. That's what it says on the back of it. apricot corrector. So basically, this is a universal color that you can use if you have really, but I mean really dark circles. The worst are the ones that we inherit, because there is really not much we could do about that. But this guy, oh my god, like I cannot live without this guy. This is my savior. I use a tiny little bit. Like, don't use it as you see sometimes in videos. Use a little bit just to correct that darkness. Then give it a few moments to dry, just a little bit, or apply the slightest, the tiniest amount of powder, and then go on with your normal shade of concealer. Now, how to choose the right texture? Here really depends on your skin. Usually, the older we get, the more wrinkles we have, of course, and the skin becomes thinner. In my opinion, it works so much better a thinner concealer and a more hydrating one. Or you could still use something very thick, but mix it with a little bit of moisturizer. To answer your question, it really depends on your skin. And there's no rule about the age, really. I've seen women that are in their 20s that have really dry and very thin under eyes, and I would have to use products that I normally use for over 50 years old women, and the other way around. So it's not really about the age, it's about the texture of your skin. I love to use concealers that have a little bit more coverage. I love to have them in my kit. Even if they're on the thicker side, I can mix them with moisturizer and get them thinner. Because a product that really has no coverage at all, you could just build it and build it and build it, and it's not gonna work. How to make it last? It's very easy. Powder it. But before you powder your concealer, the most important step in the world is to look in the mirror really close and to make sure that your concealer didn't really get into those lines around the eyes. That's when the concealer really looks horrible. It creases, it makes us look old, it emphasizes those wrinkles. So make sure that wherever you've got those fine lines and wrinkles, just smooth it all out. Make sure it's not too much product in there, and then with a tiny little bit of powder, set and seal that area. There is no other way. There is no other way. Why is the concealer looking gray? Because you're using the wrong color. And here I have a little demo for you. Sometimes we're so desperate to make under eye area looking so bright that we are going towards very light concealers. That's when they start to look gray. So as you can see on my right side, I have used the Fenty Beauty 150 concealer. And normally it would look like the concealer that would work for me because I'm pretty pale and I want to brighten up those under eyes. But then check this out. Now if you're looking at me and you're like, wait, what's wrong? Let me apply concealer on the other side so that you can tell really how a good color for me looks like. Why is my concealer emphasizing fine lines and wrinkles? Because it's the wrong concealer for you. Concealer alone should not do that. Sometimes after you apply powder, it can get a little bit dry, but concealer alone should not do that at all. You're either using the wrong texture concealer, or you've got extremely dry under eyes, you haven't hydrated at all. Now I'm going to talk about my favorite concealers, why I like them, what are the colors that I use the most on my clients, and the colors that I find that they help me the most. And I hope this is going to be helpful for you. The first concealer that I'm going to talk about is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. It's no surprise. You guys know that I love Shape Tape Concealer. I try to use it less and less because I know it's not available in Europe, and I have some subscribers that are in Europe. But I have good news. Tarte is going to be available for the very first time in Europe in Sephora, France. How amazing is that? And they are going to come with their whole range of products. So I'm very happy about that. Tarte Shape Tape Concealer is a very good concealer for various reasons. First, it really covers everything. Like, it has this ability, covers, and it doesn't look cakey. Of course, it depends on how you apply it, how much you apply it. but this is a great product. Would I use it on my mom? She's almost 60. I would, but I would dilute it with a bit of moisturizer. I wouldn't use it alone. From the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, the colors that I use the most are light medium honey, because it has a little bit of that color correcting in it that's helping neutralize the darkness. I use a lot of light sand. I also have in my kit medium, deep dark, and rich. Another concealer that I'm absolutely obsessed with is the Nars, surprise, surprise, Radiant Creamy Concealer. And the color Custard in particular, for me, it just saves my life. It's that good. This concealer is not just amazing as a texture, but it has amazing colors as well. It is a little bit dry. I feel like it's more drier or more dry than the Tarte Shape Tape, but it's still a very good concealer. Another concealer from Nars that I really love is the Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This one, I feel like this one hides those dark circles better than the Radiant Creamy Concealer. I use it a lot for my dark circles, but not very close to the lash line because it does tend to crease. I've got a lot of concealers. If I hit the plan with this one, it means I really love it. Another one that I use mostly as a foundation, to be completely honest with you, but also as a concealer, is this Glossier. This is the Stretch Concealer. I'm only having actually the color medium. From what I know, this is available in 5 shades, and the name fits it so well. It's a stretchy concealer, so you can really work this concealer into the skin, like all over your face. It gives you a beautiful glow, and I've actually received this concealer from Katie Hugh. Always make a mistake when I pronounce her name. If you don't know Katie, go check out her Instagram. She's the nicest, most hardworking person in the industry that I've personally met. I love her so much. Super talented. When I say super talented, I'm going to put in here some of her makeup looks, like to die for. She's inspiring me so much, and her thing is glossy skin, and she is a master on creating that. So she gave this to me and she said, listen, you're gonna love this. But I only have one. I use it mostly on my clients. Recent discovery is the Armani Power Fabric Concealer. It's what I have actually today. I have only 2 colors because I feel like I use these the most, the 4 and 4.5. I love that this concealer does not need to be powder necessarily, or if you do need powder, like the tiniest amount would be sufficient. It just blends with your skin. I don't know how to explain, but in the same time, it does have coverage without making you look like you're wearing anything. This is the kind of concealer that you could use alone, like no foundation. Use it alone and it's going to save the day. I have some others that I love as well, but just these are my top favorite concealers. I do want to mention that Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer, that's a great one, but it's in my kit. However, that's a very good concealer. It does not crease, it covers. It's perfect to be used if you have dry under eyes. Now guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope that it was helpful. If you have any questions about concealer, please leave them in the comments. I will be very responsive to this video in particular because I want to help you guys with the right information from my knowledge. Make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel, that you've clicked on that ring bell button, and follow me on Instagram. Let's hang out in there as well. And by the way, I've posted this look on my Instagram, so go check it out. I love to have you guys in there. I talk about makeup, I do tutorials in there as well, and I take you around Paris. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!